Yeah.
Guys, welcome back to the Custard Splat podcast, episode, I want to say 41. I've got to get better at, just reading and taking some notes of how many episodes we've done this season because I'm pretty sure it's 41. Um, Scott is with us for this one. Ollie couldn't be with us due to work commitments this week, but our episode title this week is a nod to a previous podcast that Ollie did called The Opening 45, which was basically, from what I remember, how I understand it, a random football chat, um, just only ever talking about the first half, which is quite an interesting concept. But the reason I've gone for a little play on words this week with the second 45 is for the last 3 or 4 games, that's all we've seemed to have turned up for, which will go on to a little bit more detail. As I said, Scott is with us once again. Scott, you were at Carlisle.
Yeah.
Um, Go on, because that's a long old way.
Yeah. I will tell you what, after the first 4 or 5 minutes, I literally walked in, rushed my drink down, got into the terrace, and as soon as I literally walked on the terrace, I just saw Owen Mason just pass that ball straight out. And I thought, all that bloody way for it. And I just thought, do you know what? They had the big crowd as well, didn't they? The big crowd, the place
Yeah.
was rocking. And the last thing you want to do, especially with our record, as we'll touch on later against the top six,
Hmm.
um, wasn't the best of starts. Funnily enough, though, that first half, despite the goals we did give away, even the second one was shocking, wasn't it? Unmarked at the back post.
Yeah.
But we were still the best, I thought. I mean, we gift wrapped them 2 goals, and I think apparently the commentators on design were quite complimentary of Stafford in that first half. And I think reading between lines, seeing the highlights back and how they worded the sort of commentary is that once we got one, I think Southend would have gone on to get something from the game, which ultimately we did.
Yeah. I mean, watching it on the zone, much the
Did you
same
watch
as
it? Did you
yourself.
watch it last night? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched it, and I've watched it again since. I always like to try my best and watch it again after when I know the results, and I watch it from a slightly different perspective when I watch it the second time. But I try and sort of pick up on things that I might have missed. Um, yeah, it's becoming a really difficult one to say. It is always the bridesmaid comment again because we
mm.
haven't played bad. Well, the performance on a whole isn't poor.
No,
There's an individual error, obviously, 90 seconds into the game, which is dreadful.
yeah,
There's no two ways about that. So it's a dreadful error. I'd love to know what the thought process is, but we're going to we'll come to that in a bit more detail and the whole goalkeeping situation once again as a whole. But yeah, outside of the 2 goals, we haven't performed badly. We probably once again, similar to the Truro game and even a bit of the Boreham Wood game from a few weeks prior,
yeah,
we are having more chances, but the opposition are just more clinical than us. And when they get their chance, they take it away. It's taken us 5 or 6 chances to stick one away, whereas the opposition, seemingly at the moment, or in Carlisle's case on Saturday, it was they got one chance, 2 minutes in, scored it. Like so, I think we are still lacking a little bit of that killer instinct. I think
yeah. I
on
think that's a
on the
fair.
balance of play, no, we haven't played badly, but it's I know it's a cliche, but it's a results business. And yeah, it's all right. You can look at that one. Well, the two draws last week, the Truro one, which again we'll come to, but the Carlisle one. So we've drawn both of those games, but the feeling afterwards, the feeling at full time, not half time, is very different because you come away from that Truro game, everyone was pretty pissed off, and that's a draw that
Mm.
feels like a defeat. The Carlisle one is a draw that in some ways feels like a win because of the timing of the
But it's still,
goals. We've come from 2-0 down. It's just
yeah,
perspective. But the nuts and bolts of it is we've drawn both those games, but the feeling is very different. Um, yeah, I mean, we didn't turn up for the first half. They didn't turn up for the second half.
no, I think fair comment.
It was that proper game of 2 halves. So I actually thought they were pretty poor in the second half. For as good as we were, like we were banging the door down all second half, and
Mm.
it was becoming like it's only a matter of time here. Surely we're going to get one. Dallas potentially should have got one literally 2 or 3 minutes before the one that he got, albeit via a slight deflection. But we kept banging the door down, and you have always been able to say that about us this season, that we haven't given up. I know that sort of mantra seems to follow us, like this never give up mentality, but we don't.
No,
We
that's the
don't,
thing. That's,
and yeah, our record against the other top 6 or 7 sides isn't great. The sides above us, it's not great. It's actually very, very poor. We're going to get into some numbers a little bit later on, and it doesn't make for good reading. But that tide has got to change at some point, surely, because we're competing with them every single time. Like, not to sound like a broken record, like, but it is incredibly fine margins. Um, but you look at some of the other results, like when York have played Carlisle, for example, Carlisle have been on the end of 2 absolute hidings.
absolutely, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
so on
We've
the
not been part of it. Do you know what I mean?
no,
We've not had that. But I said we've been accused of being not clinical enough for a little while now against them top sides. But I said we weren't clinical enough either against the Truro game. I mean, look at that second half there. I still felt, no matter how poor that first half was, and even how bad substandard that second half still was, I never felt for a moment that we'd have dropped points there. I thought somehow we would have snuck as you said, up the second half syndrome. We seemed to be, regardless how bad the first half is, we always managed to seem to turn it around in the second. But whether we just run out of time, we kept trying and trying. But
mm,
as you said, the contrast in feelings between both getting a point, both games, you still get the same result at the end of it. Still
mm.
got a point at the end of each game, but the feelings were so vast. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, Europe, people like well, no, calling out players again. I mean, it was quite nasty in the West
Well,
Stands.
half time and full time, the whistle was gone, and they're both being booed.
Yeah,
Like, there's
which
boos
is
ringing around the stadium, which, well, I'll be brutally honest, the Truro game at half time, I didn't disagree.
no, 100%. I think
I
I
I
didn't
didn't
take part in it, but I did agree. I wouldn't
that
disagree
was
with that reaction because it was so substandard.
well. We'll go on to Truro. Like, we'll start at the point of the last recording. Let's go back to last Tuesday. I know it was a week ago now. Um, Probably right up there with our one of our worst performances first half since Kev has been at the club.
Yeah, I think that's a fair
We
comment. I mean,
we
I've even so I was coming around to not mayor out as some people are so fixated with at the minute, but
No, I think
that
but you're still allowed to think that something's poor
yeah,
without going for the manager's head or someone's head. You
and
can
that I
just
was
say
looked.
that was poor.
I mean that I'm trying to be one of the most positive people can be, but even that you look at it, you just think there's nothing there you could fathom out or defend in the slightest. It was
Well, the
so
only positive that I took from it at half time was it was only 1-0,
yeah,
because it could have been more. If you'd have taken just a random fan of another club or just anyone to that game with zero context to it, we looked like the side that were bottom of the league.
mm. Oh,
You would
100%. Yeah,
you
you
would
would.
not have known that Truro going into that game were rock bottom of the table. Like, we were absolutely dreadful. And yeah, all right, we bucked our ideas up second half, but that just goes to prove, like, the nature of this division. You can't gift wrap a free 45 minutes to anyone and still expect to win that game, because we've only turned up for 45 minutes and we couldn't quite get ourselves over the line to get that winner. Had we started the game the way we finished it, yeah, we'd have won that game. But for whatever reason at the minute, I've got a couple of theories as to what I think could be contributing to the slow starts at the minute. But we're starting games incredibly slow. And we coming into this business end of the season now, like we're middle of March, call it. You've got to buck our ideas up now.
Yeah, I mean, there's been even occasions the last couple of years that we've obviously there's been excuses we can hide behind a couple of seasons ago, but even last year we were sort of dubbed not when can we be a 90-minute team? Do you know what I mean? Or even a 70-minute team with either a poor first half or a poor second half. We've never had the complete performance right from the word. Obviously, a few of them flashed, like obviously the Morecambe one the other week, and obviously there was a Solihull a few seasons back where there was games where we did actually steamroll the teams and see them
Yeah.
out. Um, Obviously, the Braintree games last season were a prime example as well. Wheelstone this season, we've sort of, as you said, you can't gift wrap people any sort of team, especially teams down the bottom. I mean, I know Truro are a little bit adrift, but they've got to still believe. If you give them something to
They're
hang on to,
fighting for their lives, mate. This is
yeah,
what I mean. You get to this point of the season, and the ones that you sort of want to play, if you can even call it that, are the teams that are sitting like, I don't know, call it 11th to 15th, 16th, because they're the ones that have practically got nothing to play for. You play a top side this time of the season, everyone's got their eyes on playoffs and promotion. But then you've got the little pack down the bottom that are fighting for their lives.
yeah.
Like those are not easy games, as Truro proved.
No, and so obviously I know we've got a few injuries. I mean, I was watching don't know if you've seen that Noor Hassin
I've
mini
not seen it yet.
documentary.
No, I've not
You
watched it
look
yet.
at the people in the dressing room, and obviously dressing room, they're changing fitness. I'll get it right in a minute.
Yeah, we're
Like
live, Scott. There's no second takes, mate.
the physio room, you got to think. Obviously, we'll touch on the Carlisle thing, no doubt, a bit later on. But we've got
Mhm.
Carlisle in there. You got Nathan Ralph, the club captain. You got Noor Hassin, well, influential midfielder, playmaker. Add to that now, you've got Leon Powell on there, and then you've also got Goodlift again. I know we brought Golden in, but again, we're down to the bare bones of the back three.
Yeah.
You move any team in this division, maybe apart from Forest Green with their 40-odd players, but that's gonna hit anybody,
I'd
isn't it?
love to
It's
know
gonna hit
what
anyone.
they.
You take them sort of your captain out, your best
Yeah.
midfielder, arguably your best striker when he's fit,
Yeah.
your centre half that come in and helped us get into the playoffs last year, and
That's
our
your whole
playmaker.
spine.
Yeah,
That's your whole because you can no because it is still worth no. I know it's worth saying that everybody at some point of the season is going to have their little bouts of an injury crisis here and there, which they will. But you are right what you say. You can't hang on to it forever. So it can't become an excuse that you can hide behind
no,
and go, oh, that's why we're not winning games because we're missing X, Y, and Z. You can't do that. That will eventually wear a bit thin. There does come a point in time you've got to just get on with it. But it is still worth noting that well, put it this way, if all of those players were fit, they're on the starting lineup
yeah,
every single time. So yeah, you take that number of regular experienced starters out of anyone's side. Yes, I completely agree with you. There is going to be a knock-on effect. That's sort of a
I-
nice little segue into one of my theories on our slow starts to games at the minute.
yeah.
We haven't got a settled team at the moment. There's
We touched
there's
yourself, didn't we? The midfield three seems to be. He goes to bed at night, wakes up in the morning, picks out three midfielders. Same system, regardless if it's Morton or Miley, like for like, give or take. Coatley comes in occasionally, and then Forson gets a run for 3 or 4 matches,
yeah,
and you don't see him.
he's played quite well lately, Keenan,
He
I
has,
think.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's been playing very well, which is sort of this is a similar time of year to last year that Keenan really got his run in the side and
And he's played it all the way
he
through.
become undroppable.
Yeah,
So yeah, hopefully he can stay in the side. But yeah, the
but the
team
front two change as well, Scott, don't they? Every week, every other week,
it's
we've got Dallas
unsettled.
plus one other. Yeah,
Yeah, it does seem a bit unsettled. And in my personal opinion, I think he got it wrong the wrong way around with the game that he started Tom Hopper in. I think Tom Hopper should have started against Truro.
mm.
I think that the way that game went, that game was crying out for a player like Hopper. We couldn't make anything stick in their never mind their final third in their half.
That's all.
Nothing stuck. And I think that was the game that was crying out for Tom. And he come on, in injury time. I think he
Mm.
got one flick on the time he was on. He was on for like 90 seconds. But then he got the start at Carlisle, which you would have probably thought was a game more tailor-made for Kendall.
Especially away from home as well, like chasing
So
Hurricanes down. So
yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, I personally feel that was a little bit back to front, if I'm being honest.
why do you think that is, Scott? Why do you think he is changing that much? Because I said he's under. Obviously, when he was
I
a player with
think
us and that successful with Tilson, I know Tilson had the same system,
mhm.
same players everywhere. If you were fit, regardless if it was a cup game,
Yeah,
anything, sort of
yeah,
just kept.
you knew the team. You knew the team, didn't you? Like the back of your hand. What do I think it is? I think we're a bit fragile at the minute. Like, I think we are wary. We see the players that have gone down already with injuries. Like we've lost Cardwell, we've lost Ralphie, we've lost Goodliff, um, lost Leon. Like I think we are wary. I don't mean this in a way that's like we're wrapping people up in cotton wool. I don't mean it to be that dramatic and that drastic. But I think we are wary. Like Charlie Kendall missed 4 months earlier this season.
Yeah,
So I think we've got one eye on, oh, I can't lose him again. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're just trying the rotate, particularly with the strikers, because we've lost Carlisle as well for the time being. I think the rotation is just working on trying to not put everyone in the red zone at the same time. So I think a lot of it comes down to that. Um, but for me, where I sort of hinted at earlier, one of my potential theories on our slow starts to games at the minute, it's too much chop and change at the back. Like we play from the back. We
mm.
play a possession-based game of football. The goalkeeper starts the move. We've got a goal kick. It's a pass. It's never a punt up to the halfway line for a flick on. The goalkeeper starts our attack.
Never is it? Never, regardless of what
No. So
situation we're chasing.
whether that was Nick Hayes when he was here first half of the season, whether that's Colin, whether that's Owen Mason, the goalkeeper starts the attack, and that's obviously what Owen was looking to do on Saturday, and he made a mistake. Well, let's not get away from it. He made a mistake. Whatever. But for me, forget that goalkeeper situation for a second. I'll get onto that. I really noticed it Tuesday night against Truro. I was sitting East Blacks, so where I sit, and I'm kind of in line with our back four, like back five rather, when sort of we're balls up in the sort of final third of the pitch, and we've moved up a bit. I've got a pretty good view of our back line. Goodliff, was he carrying that knock already? Possibly, because he didn't have a good game. Was it the injury that made him a bit off colour, or was it because he's gone from practically spending all season knowing that he's got Nathan Ralph on his left and Harry Taylor on his right, and he's got Colin behind him? Suddenly, he's got Joe Gubbins on his left, he's got James
James Cole,
Golding on his right,
and
and he's got Owen Mason behind him.
yeah,
It's all changed, and it's a little bit nervy. You're working out who. Oh, because I know. I muscle memory now. I know where Colin's going to be, or I know where Nathan's going to be. Suddenly, you're second guessing everything now because there's different personnel in these positions, and
yeah, 100%.
I'm not criticizing the players that are coming in. That's not what I'm sitting here trying to do. But I'm saying it's got to have a ripple effect on the players that have been in the team that are now playing alongside someone else. It takes
Well,
time.
it's a
Because
familiarity.
of the. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'll jump on top of you then.
That's all right. No, I think it's sort of where I'm at in the garden with the Wi-Fi. Great, but it's like you just sort of you look at all the top successful teams from any level downwards. It's pretty much in a league game. It's the same back four, back three, back
Well, you
five,
just
whatever.
said it there all those years ago, on like when we had successful eras under Tilly, even the successful era we had under Phil Brown. You knew the team.
Every week.
You
Yeah,
teams that get promoted, they've settled. And at the moment, yeah, sadly, it's a bit of an injury hit again. It's not rotating for the sake of it. Like Kev would obviously not be choosing to leave these players out. It's injuries that are having the effect. But yeah, it really stuck out to me on Tuesday night that we looked nervy at the back, because that's where we build from. That's where we start. And it was just everything was different. And then Goodliff ends up going off at half time because he's got a knock, and it's changed again.
Well, same as Saturday, wasn't it? First
Yeah.
thing Saturday, playing out the back. I mean, obviously, Golden now moved back into the centre of the back
He's moved from being right centre back on Tuesday to now he's middle.
and Harry Taylor's come back in.
Harry Taylor's come back in. Harry Taylor's carrying a little bit of a knock himself. Like it's just a ripple effect at the minute, and I think that is why. Yeah, you could look at it and go, "Oh, Southend are shit in the first half at the minute." Yeah, but look a bit deeper. That's what I mean when I said at the start. Like I'll watch the game, and I always like to watch it back because I try and analyze it. I try and look at it with a different head on. I'll watch it first time round live. I try and watch it as a supporter, but then the second time round, I try and analyze it. I try and go a bit deeper.
As a coach,
I try to. Yeah, for what it's worth, I try to. And yeah, that's sort of what I'm taking from it at the minute, and I think that's a reason why we're starting games quite slow at the moment, because we're unsettled.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we are. I mean, across the thing. I mean, like you said, the whole thing, that wrapping cotton wool. Another example of that is Miley. I mean, obviously, Miley, he normally gets and not across the season at some point where he's out for 4 or 5 games. And you thought it's coming into the business end. I mean, with Ralph not playing in Goodliff, he is usually the captain.
Yeah.
You can't lose another captain figure going in now to what hopefully will be a successful and busy end to the season. It already is.
Well, I think the Carlisle game on Saturday, again, because there was no Ralph, no Miley, no Goodliff. Harry Taylor was captain.
Yeah.
Taylor finished the game as captain. So you're now on to the fourth different player wearing the armband this season. I quite
You
like
think?
seeing Taylor wear that. I looked at it, I thought, yeah, do you know what? That suits you.
Yeah,
I can see Harry Taylor as a captain.
yeah, he has done before, but always Kev seems to go back to Miley as a sort of vice captain, doesn't he? I think he does put a lot. I mean, I watched his
I
pre.
think I think the captain's role has changed a little bit over the years. You don't have to be the like Mr. Aggressive Sergeant Major, like shouting at everyone type. I think it's just these days it will be like how do you well, first of all, how you conduct yourself, how you represent the club, um, you know, you, how you train, like everything. And I think there's no shock that Nathan Ralph is the club captain. Nathan Ralph will always be the club captain. Yes, he's injured at the minute, so he's not wearing the armbands, but you can see why he's like the club representative
He sets
as
the
the
example
captain.
that you can
Yeah,
imagine he comes in
yeah,
every day to train. You can't
yeah.
imagine him ever turning up late or, do you know what I
No,
mean?
brilliant
He's just,
professional.
I think Kev touched on it as well. I watched the premiere about obviously Miley's milestone could be tonight of 150 games. I mean, he could
Yeah,
have
if
played a
he
lot.
if he plays, yeah.
But again, he said he's just the ultimate professional off the pitch. I can imagine people like Hussein are as well, them sort of role models. They come in disciplined with their diet, come in and never late. You never hear anything like on social media from them. They just sort of set the standards for the club,
It
and
is,
that's
it is, it's standards. Like Kev uses that word a lot. It's standards, isn't it? And
yeah,
yeah, I don't think it's any shock that those are the guy when they're fit, they wear the armband. Um, where are we? We've kind of gone a bit back to front. We've kind
oh,
of gone out. We're not. It was just the way we spoke about the game as we touched on Carlisle first. I'm trying to think if we've missed anything from the Carlisle game. I'm guessing what? Well, never mind guessing. It obviously is to have been 2-0 down and to come away with a point on like one of your longest away trips of the season. That's a point gain, like for
yeah,
my money. But the Truro game, that was 2 points dropped.
yeah. I mean, as well, especially after obviously how poor the Truro game was. Obviously, you got adding the travel to Carlisle as well, going behind, but then especially the first goal, even the second one, to then rally and come back in the second half, and that will feel like 3 points rather than a
Hmm.
defeat like the Truro one did.
I
So,
think that's something as well. Sorry to jump in, but you
yeah,
said
that's
earlier about like why do I think that we're rotating the forward line the way that we're rotating it? Long away trips like that as well. You got. I know it might sound silly. I know it might sound a bit stupid and a bit you're pampering people, but we can't afford another injury right now. Like
no,
particularly to a striker. So then you look at someone like Charlie Kendall that missed a long period of the season this year with a muscular injury. He's just sat on a coach for however long. Like I think I think it plays a part in the team selection and the rotation that we're doing. I think it's
yeah,
also
because
worth
I think,
noting.
sorry,
Go on, go on.
no,
We'll take
I
it in
think
turns.
it's a sort of brief lag, isn't it? But I think apart from Hopper, I think nobody else has. Every other forwards had an injury. I mean, Dallas had a bit of time out, didn't they? I mean, Kendall had that at the start of the
Even
season
Spazov's had little knocks that's put him out of side.
where he's adjusting back
Yeah,
to it.
he's adjusting to full-time football. So
And, Walk,
everyone has had something.
and Walker's in and out. Obviously, last year he was very injury prone. Josh Walker, he used to come in for 4 or 5 games and be out for 4 or 5. So, so apart from Hopper, it's probably due to the lack of the amount of minutes he's played. But then you got
Mm,
the sort. You got that risk. You saw that with Carlisle. Hadn't played for so long. Came in at full pelt for the first
yeah,
5, 6 games. Then obviously his calves played up again, and we
yeah.
can't afford that.
Frustrating that he's yeah. The news back end of last week was that he's suffered a setback in his in his comeback. But I think I don't know. You can get into the whole time it takes for players to come back at another time because this season, whatever we've been told at the start, whatever apart from Norhusin, which we knew it was a long one right from the start, probably quite an easy diagnosis in that sense because that's a long road to recovery. But some of the shorter ones, everyone has gone over schedule on the time frame that we've been told, oh, they'll be back in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 7 to 10 days. Like everyone's gone over that schedule by quite some distance, and I think that needs some investigating as to why. Are things
What I
being
think
are things being
the thing is the Carlisle
misdiagnosed from
level.
the start? Like what's the problem there?
Yeah, what
Why does it take so long for our players to come back from injury?
it's like when it was that was eight. Do you mean that?
Yeah, Cardwell
Obviously,
last
Ken was only
played
going to be a bit.
was York, wasn't it? 17th of Jan.
Yes, yeah.
And this is the 10th of March, and we haven't
He
seen him
did.
since.
He did, and he didn't look. I know he sort of didn't hobble off as such. You know, if he had an ice pack on his car, when at the end of the game he kind of came over, he didn't sort of look anything that he'd probably be out for the next match. He didn't seem. It might have just been like a sort of seemed like a contact injury at the time, or something. It could have been. It was so
Mm.
innocuous, but obviously it's now been over that month now massively, isn't it? It's been like
Well, it's nearly
well, kind of
two. It's coming
two
up to
months.
two
Well, a
months.
screen
Yeah.
game, exactly 2 months on
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah, so
My final point on like the squad rotation thing at the moment, I think it is also worth noting that with our schedule at the moment, Saturday, Tuesday, the travelling to like the various away games, just been to Carlisle, we're probably not training.
no,
So
especially but yeah, because you got to take a day out
yeah,
either side
yeah,
for travel.
yeah. So our games are coming so thick and fast at the minute. Even when we are in at the training ground, it's probably recovery.
Mm.
I can't imagine. I could be wrong. And if anyone listens to this, you can feel free to come and tell me I've got it wrong. But I can't imagine we're doing a great deal of like training at the minute, which feeds into the what I said about, it looked a bit nervy and we're figuring things out having to do it on the hurry up because we've got to get a team out and the game's got to be played and it's right, so now I've got to figure out, yeah, but if that was him, if that was Ralphie, I know he'd do this. And I think the lack of training is going to be having an impact on that as well. This sounds like I'm sitting here making a lot of excuses in a minute. I'm not. I'm not.
I
And we're going to
touched on
come
earlier
we're going to
about the
come to a section in a minute which is pretty damning reading that our record against the other top sides, which is for a side that are gunning for promotion as we are, it is simply not good enough. So I'm not sitting here just sugarcoating it and pretending that everything's rosy. It's just because we've got a few injuries. I'm not. I'm just trying to give context.
yeah, like you said though, earlier about the unfamiliarity in the back line. I mean, even if the defence did change, we had 2 or 3 days on the training ground to sort of
Hmm.
familiarise yourself with people. We're not getting that. Obviously, Tuesday's ruled out of a match day. Wednesday will probably come in
That'll be a day off. That's
with a warm down.
Wednesday's probably a day off or a recovery
Form.
session.
Then Thursday you might get a little bit on the grass, get the balls out, but then Friday you're on the coach travelling out over away game. I mean, obviously this weekend we're at home, but we've still got 3 games in the next week, all at
Yeah.
home.
No,
You
that's
look,
what I mean. It's a mental schedule at the minute. It's a mental schedule. Um, oh God, come on then. Should we do this goalkeeping situation?
I can see a certain Mr. Greystone smiling somewhere along the line.
What are we gonna do? What do we do with it?
But we touched it last week. I mean, obviously, when Colin came through, he was sort of like the next big thing. Do you know what I mean? Fans loved him, one of our own, Colin the keeper, all this.
Mhm.
Linked to championship clubs. He kept on, he obviously, allegedly. And do you know what I mean? He just sort of loved, do you know what I mean? He's one I've never seen. But even now, with the injury to Mason, I see comments on Facebook and that now saying, "Oh, we've been left with that clown Colin now for the rest of the season or for the foreseeable and things like that." I
Mm.
thought he's come in, yeah. Well, we said he did look composed in some games, but he's made a total hash this Saturday. Obviously, but again, you said it's a change. You can't keep. I know
Yeah.
he's probably ruled out this week. But obviously, he hasn't trained
Well,
this week.
yeah, this is the yeah.
Protocol.
Owen Mason probably won't play tonight anyway. If he was genuinely concussed on Saturday, there's absolutely no way you're playing 48 hours later. No,
No.
no way. I think there's like a 2 week cooling off period for concussions now, and rightly so. Like you've got to be very careful with head injuries and where they're concerned. So I can't imagine he plays tonight. Uh, and if he does, and therefore he wasn't concussed, then the reason he was subbed on Saturday was well tactical
Yeah,
because that's the mistake has pissed you off so much, so you've hooked him.
We've
So
said this before, and we've had six or might even be more goalkeepers now come onto the books across, including obviously that was Dave Martin was here before, and he when Colin was here, he must have been.
yeah,
And
Dave Martin was a registered player. He was player goalie coach for a season,
obviously we
wasn't
had the couple of loanees, obviously James Hills. We've gone through all these names countless times with it. We've said Colin always gets the gloves back,
he? Yeah,
whether it's a month or 2 months down the line, or whether he's recovered, or now because of this, he'll always come back in.
I know.
And nobody's come in and blown him away. No one's come in and said, right, he's like years ago when we had Federici come in, do you mean on loan? When you going way back, he looked at him and thought, fucking hell, this is a
Yeah,
proper goalkeeper
have
here.
we got him? Yeah,
Yeah. But we've had notice if anyone, it's maybe the same like Colin's got a mistake in him. Everyone's, but I suppose at this level, we've said before, they've all got a mistake in them because the level they're playing at. But you
mm.
can't keep. Well, same with Hayes, wasn't it? Forest Green away game. He came back in. The couple of clangers against Carlisle at home, he was questionable about.
Mhm.
Dived over the ball at Forest Green, and then he was out. Then Colin was in again. Do you know, you
It
can't.
is no, you can. And again, it feeds this whole unfamiliarity of the team at the minute. Again, the injury aspect might have to come into play tonight, but you do kind of set a dangerous precedent with like, oh, you make a mistake, that's it, you're out. I'm gonna put you back in.
Mm.
Oh, but 2 months ago you took me out because I made a mistake. So I think it's got a bit. It's got well, never mind a bit. It's got very messy. Um, and I don't think any of them quite know where they stand.
No,
There's
we've always proud ourselves ever since like we've been watching. So we've always proud ourselves with the goalkeeper production, like how strong our goalkeepers were. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like even when Mark Oxley came in, got Player of the Year the first couple of seasons, he was in. Do you know what I mean? Everyone we've had, like Steve Arnold, National League fans' favourite, loved him.
Player of the
Um,
season.
yeah, do you know what I mean? We've always had that. Obviously, we've touched with Harry before that. Obviously, the production line when we had produced our own. Colin's come from the Southend College team through our academy into our. Had X amount of games for a very very young goalkeeper still, and
Mhm.
I think the only thing he can really be found guilty of is being too laid back a little bit. Do you know what I mean? The sort of son the ball comes back, he might leave it a little bit last minute to play that pass, but in
Yeah.
his mind, he's composed with it. But it's
Mm.
the fans that seem to be. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
but
I think I've from what I see on the pitch on a Saturday or a Tuesday, and you look at his record and you look at his stats, you look at the clean sheets, I can't see it being an ability thing. I can't. And I'm not here to speculate, but there's obviously something that they don't like. I don't,
yeah,
but to look to replace him as often as we do, there is obviously something that they don't like. Has he been asked to buck his ideas up and look a bit more alert and he's not listening? Like I don't know, but there is obviously something that
for
somebody,
this to happen in
yeah,
the amount of time.
there's obviously something that somebody isn't particularly happy with. So move him on, move him on. But what I'm getting a bit fed up with, to be brutally honest, is the replacements are not better.
And
Like,
him, no,
and I'm not even saying that they're all worse. I'm not. Because what you've got to remember is that these are young National League goalkeepers. Yes, they're going to make mistakes. Yes, they are. No one's going to be the finished article at this level. You need to do well to remember that. But would you? I always struggle to get my head around the concepts of just getting keepers on loan and benefiting someone else's youngster rather than your own youngster,
mm.
which we've done to a degree with Colin, and we've got Colin to the point that he's at now, and he may well have reached his level. This may just be his level now. But and we as a club and where we want to go obviously need something better. Okay, so move him on.
Yeah,
But for the love of God, replace him properly. Stop
permanently,
repla
properly with a
Yeah,
decent,
stop replacing him with
better standard,
with a low knee that is not
like
better
for
than
like.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's beginning to really get my back up with it, is that the goalkeepers are not better. Um anyway, we'll
no,
probably just get
no.
told
And
off
the
for a
thing is,
Colin Loving now.
uh, he's gonna, he's gonna start.
Be
Does if the
proper
goalkeepers
lag
come
there,
in and make
Scott.
a mistake, he's gonna come back in. So it's sort of, I was like,
You need to sit still.
why there have I gone? But it's just, yeah, it's just like he will know eventually. He will come back in regardless. But if there's an underlying, if there is an underlying disciplinary or whatever it is,
Mm.
he you've got to sort of, as you said, move him on if it's that big an issue.
Mm. Well, I said after the Horsham game that the fact that we didn't rotate the keepers for the cup game, that said to me, we're trying to settle with Mason now. Like, which we may well still be, and it might be
Mm.
completely genuine that he's got a concussion, he has to be taken off, and he won't play tonight. What will be interesting is if he plays on Saturday. What once he's fit, does he come back in? Is he genuinely injured? Is he
Does he come
genuinely
straight back in or
concussed? Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Does he come back in when he's fit? So that will be the proof in the pudding, I think. Um, but yeah, not ideal, not ideal. And then the whole chopping and changing, I think, is having a ripple effect throughout the rest of the back five, and then from there throughout the rest of the team at the minute.
Which would then maybe explain these, as you said, when you look a bit in depth with things like this, it'll explain the inconsistency, won't it? If everyone's different every game or every half or whatever, it's going to have an effect on the team.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but this is where we're at, really, isn't it? That's where we're at. This is
Yeah.
well, by the sounds of it, there might be a loanee coming in time for tonight's game. Midfielder allegedly. At the time of recording, nothing official, but we'll see. We'll see. Should we move on to this the conversation around the record we have against the other top seven sides? I'm fully including Halifax in this conversation now because they are above us currently. Like we're sitting in eighth. Yes, we've still got a few games in hand, but as the Truro game proved, that was one of our games in hand. Games in hand mean nothing if you don't turn up.
Doesn't mean.
Doesn't mean anything because that was a real missed opportunity to make some ground up with one of our games in hand, and we failed to take it. So I'm going to read out basically what I've done. I've got the top eight in front of me, and then
Yeah.
I've put together a head-to-head league table. I've made like a mini league, games against each other of the top eight. Yeah, you with me?
Yes. Got yeah. Yeah.
Right, so the official top eight of the league table reads as follows: Rochdale at top, York a second, Carlisle a third, Boreham Wood fourth, Forest Green fifth, Scunthorpe sixth, Halifax currently seventh, and we are currently eighth. Okay, forget games played, forget games in hand. That's the top eight. I'm now going to read out that top eight with a league table based on games played against each other. So Rochdale are still top, 23 points picked up against the other top seven sides. Carlisle second, 17 points. Scunthorpe third, 16 points. Forest Green fourth, 15 points. York fifth, Boreham Wood sixth, both on 14 points. Halifax seventh, 9 points. We are eighth. The worst record against any of the top seven sides above us with only 7 points.
We know our record is bad against them, but looking at that, this goes to show we are, even taking Halifax out of the equation and being like the other probably traditional challenging promotion sides, we're 7 points away from Boreham Wood in that. We've only won one game. It's
Yeah, our one win against any of the current top seven was against Halifax.
actually, yes, so not even the so-called
Yeah,
promotion.
and
We should not do them any justice because
no,
obviously
no, Halifax are where they are in the league on merit now. They've obviously improved as the season's gone on. But I'll read out our record. So, admittedly, there's obviously still games to play. Some of these games played are a bit lopsided. Because Forest Green, for example, have played 13 games against these sorts of sides. Halifax only played 9. So
played nine.
it's a bit lopsided. But our record, we've played 11, one win, which was against Halifax, as we've just said, 4 draws, 6 defeats. We've spoken about the fine margins and how we don't get battered in these games and they're 2-1 or 1-0 or 3-2. But the fact of the matter is it's a results business. And
We've won
that,
one. We've
and that league
dropped
table says six defeats against those sides. Let's take Rochdale out of the equation because they're obviously having a fantastic season. But you look at someone like Scunthorpe, which you would sort of say on a bit more of a level with us. Only 2 defeats
Mm.
against those sides, 4 victories, 4 draws. Like we've got to find a way at tipping the balance on some of these fine margins that we all keep talking about. We've got to tip the balance at some point and get something to go in our favour. Because at the moment, is there really much point of talking about the playoffs? Is that a bit like ambitious? Because if this don't improve, we won't be in them.
No.
We won't be in them.
And that will be unthinkable, really, when I mean, we go back about the size of the club and everything like that. We've been in there pretty much the
Yeah,
best half of the season.
I think
But if we don't
we've been in we haven't been lower than 8 full season. I don't think.
finish, who have we got next Tuesday, Scott? Who have we got at home next Tuesday? Just trying to...
Who is it next Tuesday? Oh, you've put me on the spot. Let's have a really quick look. Rochdale. That'll be a laugh.
So out of these next 3 home games, we've got 2 of the top 6. Got Forest Green
Yeah,
Saturday,
yeah. Got Gateshead
which I
tonight.
really can't wait
Which
for. I
again,
really hope
but you look at the Truro game
Gateshead
last
tonight.
Tuesday. No guarantees there. No, they've pulled a couple of wins out the bag
And I think
lately.
they've
Gateshead.
turned on really good form as well. They've not great form, but obviously they've got their old manager, about some of their old players, but they've got some really good, dangerous players up front
Mm.
at Gateshead. And I think only 2 defeats in their last 8. I think, or something, give or take,
That's
around
what I
that
mean.
sort of area.
That's what I mean. So
So if
there's
we're not,
no.
especially tonight, like we have been, a bit shaky at the back or uncertain, and we can come unstuck again. And these
Mm.
are, as you found out, don't want to go behind again. So you want to sort of come out and get that first goal, and especially these next 3 matches at home,
I think
we've
especially
got to
tonight,
win tonight.
an early goal would settle everything. I think. Um, I think especially when you look at what happened last Tuesday against Truro, you come out and start like that again, then the walls are going to be talking. Like, and you are
Mm.
going to hear everything again. You'll hear all the boos at halftime. Like, you just need a strong start tonight. You do. Um, what I take from that, the league table that we've created, like for the top 8 head to heads, the one that you want to be very wary of in these playoffs is actually Scunthorpe. Have quite quietly put together like a decent little run like against the other top sides. As I said, Rochdale, like incredible season. York, incredible season when you look at the main league table. But
And how they started as well, so like
York's record against like some of the other top 8 isn't amazing. Isn't
no,
amazing. Whereas Scunthorpe, they've picked up 16 points off the other top 7 sides. So I'd have Scunthorpe as a little bit of a dark horse in the playoffs.
yeah, because I think going back there, this goes to show York though, although they've lacked a little bit against the top 6 or 7 sides, when they play the likes of Gateshead, Truro, and Morecambe, they make it pay. They get the 4-5-0 win, the 3-4-5-0 wins. We don't do that as often as the players we've got. We should, and that's the. I think that's where the frustration and everything's coming from, because we've clearly got players that can do it. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
look at
think
our wing back about all the time. We've got Kenda, who's always labelled for a goal. Dallas, how his record is, obviously he's got enough goals, but he could have he's had more. Maybe we've got players that can do this sort of stuff. I mean, we're going to miss Leon, I think. Whether this loan signing is going to be a bit of a like for like for him to replace that,
I
but
would have thought so. I would have thought so. Because something we went on record last week and we clambered for was could we get Jack Bridge and Harry Boys in the same side? And we
yeah,
got it against Truro. Didn't really work. But it's difficult to I wouldn't be blaming either of those two as individuals for that not working. The first half, all over the pitch, wasn't
that was
wasn't
dreadful.
working.
Yeah,
So
but
it's harsh to lay it at the blame of either of those two's door, but it seemingly didn't work playing Bridgie in that Leon role, so to speak. And yeah, we're now looking to bring someone in. What I will say quickly on the results, like the top sides against each other, across the board, there is a lot of draws, which does sort of show you like it is competitive. It is
yeah, it's
competitive.
not
It,
if
it
you've got
would have.
teams blowing each away exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Well, I remember York have got very good results against both games against Carlisle. I think their aggregate score is like 8-0 against Carlisle. But then
Yeah, it was.
York, but then you look at this little league table, and York haven't performed anywhere near to those levels against the rest of the top sides.
We've
So
got to think about us. We've got 4 draws, haven't we? Boreham Wood here have got 5. York have got 5. Scunthorpe have got 4. So as you said, there was a lot of
there
draws
was
there.
a lot of draws, and I think from our
No.
point of view, let's focus on ourselves. I think I'd be looking at the draws and saying realistically, how many of those draws could we have turned into wins,
Well, yeah.
or even just one or two of the defeats?
I mean, both the York
Could
games
we have
got,
got a point from them games?
especially York away. I mean, we played York at the start of the season at home.
Mm.
They weren't fantastic. You got to think they had a really slow start, so their manager got
Yeah, they
sacked
did.
as well.
They did. I think there's a couple of standouts to me. Uh, the Rochdale away game should have got
When
a
we were
point.
leading, yeah.
Should have got a point from that. Should not have lost that game. And the manner that we lost that again, it was a mistake in individual error. So
Forest Green away,
we
Scott as
should
well,
have
but
got a
1
point from
up
that game. Yeah, 1-0 up against Forest Green, lose 2-1. You got
with 15 minutes to
at the
go again.
at the very least, got to get a point from that game. And yeah, this is how tight it is. But this is the difference between a good side and a great side. You got to grind those results out, and you get to a certain point, particularly in away games. Don't lose. Just don't lose it. Um, yeah, that would be the main thing that I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at, could we have turned 2 of those 4 draws into victories, and could we have turned 1 or 2 of the defeats into draws? And suddenly we're sitting there with 7 more points.
And it'd be
That's the difference.
100%. And with that 7 more points, we'd then be up on York,
You're
Forest Green, and Boreham
fifth.
Wood stores. Yeah,
Mm.
it's totally different mindset. But I can't remember how good our record was against the top 6 last year. I don't think it was still great last year, was it? But when
Slightly
it came,
better.
it was it? I
It was
can't.
ever so slightly better. I remember us in particular. We beat Rochdale away last year in the league, and
True, yeah.
I'm pretty sure we beat Oldham as well.
Yeah, we beat Oldham, didn't we?
York, I can't remember. I think we lost quite heavily to York away. We lost like 3-0 away to York last
We did,
season.
yeah.
Can't remember the home game. Oh, right, first game of the season, we drew 1-0 against York last season. So not amazing, but slightly better, because I'm pretty sure we beat Oldham and Rochdale last year, off the top of my head.
Do you think the frustration is, though, is that we're not, it's a bit weird sort of thing to say, but if we come against these top 6 and we're getting battered 4 or 5 new every time we play them, you can quite clearly say we are nowhere near that level.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like even Saturday again, we could have won
It's
that Saturday.
so tight.
Yeah. York away with that Slavy missed that chance. We could have easily come away from York 3-0 up at half time.
I know. I know.
But
It is. I know it's becoming such a cliche to keep saying, but it is. It's so tight.
do you
But
think it will matter though when we get to, well, if we get, as I said, we can't speak too confidently. I mean, we're going to make the playoffs, but I'd like to think we will. But last year goes to show, so we did touch it last week, Roddy, didn't we? That we are sort of set up for these one-off games rather
yeah,
than think too much about
I
getting a
mean,
point.
I actually I rewatched only a few days ago. I rewatched our just for something to do. To be honest, it wasn't for any particular reason, but I rewatched our eliminator last year against Rochdale, and we were down and out a couple of times in that game, like 1-0 down, 3-1 down, and we end up winning that game 4-3. So I don't think it can ever be a bad thing. I don't think it can ever do you any harm to go into a playoff campaign knowing that you've got a reasonable record against like some of these other. Like we went away to Rochdale last year in the playoffs, knowing that we'd already beat them at their place in the regular season. So it's got to count for something.
Of course it does, yeah.
But I think in any cup game, form does go out the window. You know, it's a cup game. Yeah, so I don't really know the answer to that, but it can't do any harm,
No.
surely, to know that, oh yeah, we won here last time. But then equally, the playoffs are the playoffs, and they conjure up these incredible stories every single time, don't they? So just the
Do you
nature
think we'll
just
make
the
them,
nature of the
Scott?
playoffs. Do I think we'll make them? Yes,
You do,
yes,
yeah.
I do. I'm not saying that like arrogantly or saying it with too much chest. I think we will make the playoff. Yes, I think we will finish within that top 7. Do I think we will go anywhere near as far as we did last year? No, not currently. not
No,
currently.
it need,
I need to see a shift in gears in this running. I need to see us go up a couple of gears for me to change my mind on that.
especially this next week's guys. So I didn't realise Rochdale was. I know we had
Mm.
Forest Green, which they've been a bit of disarray and they dropping points. Obviously, they got a scrape to win at the weekend in the end because they were cruising at 2-0 quite early on.
Yeah, well, you can always tell when Forest Green have lost the game because they go and sign someone.
Oh dear, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be an interesting one Saturday, especially after the
Yeah,
whole.
just is that it's got to be the first time that Robbie Savage has ever come to Rochdale as a manager, isn't it? He's just going to be pantomime villain, isn't he?
And do you know what though? Again, I don't know why we always end up on Forest Green. Even Justin, even Justin mentioned Forest Green, but the way he acted in August, September. I know it's all about fan engagement, getting them on their side, and feet riding the wave and everything. But it's when he says about massive crowd this weekend. But then you look at it, the website the day before tweet, due to insufficient tickets, we've got to not open the away terrace this
I
week.
think he's rage baiting.
Yeah,
I think
he
Savage.
does. Yeah.
I think he's in on it. I think he knows. I think he's using that club as a leapfrog to something better. Needs to be careful. He started off his career there all right, but yeah, they've picked up some iffy defeats along the way. I think he's using them, if I'm being honest. And do I blame him? No, no, because he's being allowed to go in there and be a bit of a checkbook manager. Um,
And he's got that
there's
sort of media thing that's similar to a Phil Brown when he does these radio shows, doesn't he? He's got obviously from his playing days as well. He's got that sort of villain, sort of pantomime villain sort of
Yeah, of
character,
course he has. Of course he has.
and he loves it.
He's
But
always done it. He does love it, and he cries wolf a lot of the time. You know, he starts going, oh, like they're abusing me, and it's like, oh, what? Because you're standing there, like you're not goading anyone, are you? You're standing there, and your behaviour is exemplary. Like he knows what he's doing.
yeah, yeah.
He knows how to wind people up, and a lot of the time he gets a reaction. And I expect Saturday to be the exact same. There'll probably be a situation where he ends up on the pitch after the game, goes and shakes someone's hands, and that's what happened in the
Yeah,
away game last year. He walked up, something happens. He pretends that he's going up to shake someone's hand. He drops a grenade. Everyone piles in, and he walks off
walks off. Yeah,
because he started the fire again. Knows what he's doing. Knows what he's doing. It's how can I get all eyes on me? And you've got to say he knows how to do it.
the thing is that game is absolutely massive. It could be a great atmosphere, but it all depends on tonight. And if tonight is
You got to
substandard,
look at the next one.
yeah,
You can't. I know again another cliche. Sorry. You got
you do, don't you? Because you
especially
do. I
with
mean, you
well,
get
I think it's especially with the amount of games that we've got coming up, like Tuesday, Saturday for like it's never ending. There's no point looking at the second game. You just got to focus on the next one because there's no guarantees at all.
the thing is, if we play to our potential, as you said again, for the 90 minutes
Yeah.
or even 70 minutes of it against any side in this division, we have shown we can be a match. But we can't, as I said, you can't keep giving, whether it's teams at the top that are good quality, you can't give them a head start. And it's teams battling at the bottom, fighting for their lives. You can't also, it gives them to cling on to. Do you know what I mean? They come into Roots Hall, for example. I mean, I shared that thing in the group, and they apparently only sold one ticket tonight. He could be the happiest fan in the. He could
I
be the
mean,
fan.
don't you, yeah, mate. Coming from Gateshead to Southend on a Tuesday night, like fair play. Mind you, saying that I didn't do Carlisle midweek. I have done
And
Carlisle, but not on. I did Hartlepool on a midweek.
Yeah.
Yeah, silly. That was silly.
But yeah, I
That was when
mean,
I was young and I had no responsibilities and I could just sleep all day the following day. Like
but
things have significantly changed.
it's just I mean, we just need that good start tonight. It could change the whole atmosphere in that first 5-10 minutes. If we come out just literally go and just get that goal, it
Yeah,
could
we
be.
need a fast start. Need a fast start because I don't think it's being dramatic to say this. Every game now, it's must win.
Yeah,
It's must win, and I think it's gone a little bit further than the must not lose. Now, every game is
we've
must
got to
win.
go out to win that match,
Yeah,
because
because it was around this time last season we started to put our run together, and we steamed into the playoffs like in extremely good form. At
you
the
don't
minute,
stagger into them, do you?
nah, you don't want to stagger into it with a whimper. You need to be coming in confident, which is exactly what we did last year. And we got to find something that can replicate some of that form. Because at the
Because you
moment,
might need to take
we're
a full thing.
staggering.
Yeah, we are. We're literally stumbling into it, and which isn't. All we can hope is that maybe we get a couple of them players, but I don't know what sort of Ralph's situation is. But if you get Leon and Carlisle back for the back
Mate,
end,
yeah, I think the quickest one that we're going to get back is probably going to be Cardwell.
because even
Uh,
Leon now seems a bit. It's a grade two, isn't it? Grade
yeah,
two.
grade two tear. Ralph, he's had some sort of knee surgery.
He had operation, didn't he? Yeah.
He's not playing again this season. You mentioned that word surgery in March. You're not
Yeah.
playing again this season.
Obviously,
Like,
soon we know he's out, don't
yeah,
we?
Nor's out. Like, yeah, I think if any of them, the quickest one that we're going to get back out there is going to be Cardwell. Quick one on him, by the way. With seems to be almost public knowledge that loan
He's
deal will be
yeah.
made permanent again. Thoughts?
Very pleased, but obviously very cautious as well how it's sort of turned out at the minute. And not so much on his quality because the 6 games when he has played this season, I thought he did very well, looked very sharp, and he did sort of add a dimension to how we play, which is. And I'd like to think going forward with Boys and Gus Scott Morris putting them balls in the box and Leon slipping balls through, eventually when everyone's fully fit, he will be an asset how he runs the line and leads the line. But the concern is obviously is the injury. But I don't think he was injured that often at Forest Green. Probably because he didn't play much.
Didn't play.
But he's just sort of. But that York game was key to how even the Bath City away game. He missed a couple of chances, but away from home, obviously the header he scored at York. You think he just looks the part. I just hope it does work out. I mean, obviously there is doubt as he's come in and done exactly what the majority of our fan base thought would happen: get injured and miss the majority of his loan. But 18 months ago, 18 months ago, when we lost him, it was catastrophic. So it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a million. Not as if like a Hopper 8, 9, 10 seasons ago.
yeah,
Just, he's literally been 2 seasons ago. He was key to how we played, and we crumbled a little bit when we
yeah.
lost it.
If you want to sort of sum up just how long Harry Cardwell was gone for, which in the grand scheme of things wasn't that long, he still played for us wearing last season's kit, and he's come back to us and been able to wear this season's kit. That's
Yes,
how long he was away for. He
yeah.
was gone for like 14 months. Like in football, it's hardly any time. And yeah, I
Where do you
think
stand,
it's
Scott?
I think it's a good signing. I'm much the same as you. I'm cautious about his injury record, but I think a club like us, and we know the model that we're trying to push, that we're trying to switch to, which there's still a lot of balancing to be done. I think it's a risk worth taking. Yeah, you've got the injury problems on one hand in the back of your mind, but at this level, within our budget, you're not going to find a player that can do what he does. So I think it's
No, I think that's fairly summed up.
I think it's a risk. It is a risk, but there's a risk with any sign. Anyone can go out and break their leg, can't they? There's a
Of
risk.
course, yeah.
There's a risk with any sign. But I think Harry Cardwell is a gamble that we have to take really because yeah, I don't see another player out there for that would fit our budget and that would fit our style. At this moment in time, I don't see another option for that role.
In a
So
way, I don't like using the word. It's a safe option as well. Obviously, apparently Kev's tried to get him back ever since he left. Really, when he wasn't sort of. I mean,
well,
there
no
was
one wanted him to leave. It was because we never like transfer listed him or anything. It was Forest Green activated a release clause.
yeah, and he never really wanted to. I don't think he. But obviously, once they released that release clause,
It's hard,
he,
isn't
he
it?
didn't. He didn't. I didn't go ask him for the move. Do you know what I mean he was literally playing the game previous to that
Well,
when he
he
played all
played.
places.
I think I remember it. We played a Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure we played Boston right at the start of last season, and he played that night and he scored, which was his
Mm.
first goal of the season, and that was it. He was gone by Saturday. See you later.
It was that double whammy with that in Kensdale in the same week, wasn't it? I think when
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that
and we
knocked
had
us six a bit.
we had a slow start to last season. Those two players leaving the club, shall we say, um, for very different reasons. What you were saying right at the start. You look at the players that are currently in our injury room. You know, they'd be starting every single week if they were fit. Those two players that left the club, they'd be starting every single week for us. Like, it takes time to settle again after something like that hits you. But yeah, all in all, I think it's a good signing. I just hope he can stay fit or certainly get to this summer and get fit. Like,
Yeah,
because I think you're right in what you say that injury that he excuse me that he picked up in the York game, it's probably because his body has literally gone 0 to 100. Like, he wasn't doing much at Forest Green. He's come back to us, bang, straight in the starting lineup, 3 or 4 games in, something's gone pink. Like, it's the body reacting to something's going, what are you doing? Like, your muscles going, we haven't done this in months. So
yeah,
hopefully throughout the summer he can like continue to get himself fit and he comes back in July for pre-season and we're all guns blazing and we get the Harry Cardwell that we all know that he can be. But I think it's a big summer for him.
yeah. I think almost make and break as a professional player. I think really it sounds a bit extreme, but he's gone. Plus, also to prove, he said it countless times in interviews himself. He feels he's got to prove because he must have heard the noise about signing, the sort of cautiousness and why he was going back for old players and everything like that. But as you touched on, he was literally gone a season and a month, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah, roughly. I
He's,
can't remember exactly. He wasn't gone for long at all.
and he is. I mean, like he
I
scored
think
against
I think
Truro.
Ollie summed it up quite well when he first come back. All those years ago, I think Barry Core was out injured for longer than Harry Cardwell was spent away from the club. But yeah,
He's
he's still very much a part of the furniture. He would have come back into the training ground and still known 90% of the faces here. It wouldn't have taken him long to settle back in, and it didn't. Even on the pitch, he got his first goal for the club again very quickly. Like, got a couple of goals in the first 4 or 5 games that he played, and yeah, it's just unfortunate that he's picked up a knock.
But rather than rushing back now and missing for that, if it takes him a bit longer, if he comes back for April, hopefully, and obviously
Yeah,
April into May, we've got potential, the playoff campaign, a potential cup final as well. He still could be a very big player this
yeah,
season.
yeah,
And if
definitely,
he was to
definitely.
score the goal that wins us,
Well, yeah,
wins us the
hypothetically, and
trophy or
no
gets us in
one's
the
going to go,
playoffs,
"Oh, you was injured for 6 weeks."
yeah,
Yeah, no
it'd be
one's going to
forgotten.
remember that then.
It'd all be forgotten about, and hopefully
Yeah.
he'll be like literally not Joe Pigott status, but do you know what I mean? He'll be that sort of player. Like he'll
Oh, I
always be
don't know.
remembered.
I don't know. I think whoever the player ends up being that scores the
Of
goal
course,
that gets us
gets
back
back
to
out.
the Football League, yeah, I'd
It would
build him
be
a
that.
statue.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I'm not even joking. The player that scores that, wherever it could still take another 5 years. People won't thank me for saying that. But the player that ends up scoring the goal that gets
We're
us back in the
massive.
Football League, yeah, you
That'll be
you
the.
you are a legend, mate. Make no bones about it. Make no bones about it at all. Um, I reckon we're about done.
Yeah, no,
I reckon we're about done. Yeah, we'll wrap this one up. Yeah, we'll see how things pan out tonight. The Gateshead game, then obviously a massive game against Forest Green at the weekend, and then we'll jump on. We'll do another recording before the Rochdale game. But yeah, and until then, fingers crossed for a positive week. There's 6 points to play for, but by the time you're going to hear from us next, yeah. So fingers crossed, positive result tonight against Gateshead, and then Forest Green. But until then, we'll catch you in the next one.
cheers.